Hey guys, this is going to be a revised version of the Burning Abyss deck that I gave to you about a week and a half ago. This is going to factor in the 200th YCS that happened, or really the 3 YCSs that happened. And I'm going to probably mention all 3 of the decks that topped those events, and I'll just kind of talk about the old build, what's different than this one, how I think the deck's going to be moving forward, all those sorts of things. So let's get into it. The first big difference is we're playing 2 Skarm. Some of you probably already know where this is going. 2 Farfa. 2 of these is fine, really. The most important Skarm is the first one and gets the tour guide, and you only really want to resolve Farfa once or twice anyway. In this one, I'm finally going up to 2 Libic. I think it's an extremely good card for climbing links. I think it's also just a very safe card to normal summon. If you are in a situation where you're really afraid of something getting negated or destroyed, flipped face down, whatever, this is just a solid normal summon. So if it goes to grave, then you can special summon a Burning Abyss from your hand, and it has its effects negated. By the way, apologies for the lighting, all the shadows and stuff. I'm recording this pretty late at night. After doing some testing, I took this deck to locals today and it absolutely smashed it. 7-0 in rounds. It was 4 rounds of Swiss and then cut to top 8, played that out. Didn't lose once. So we have the 1 Seer and the 1 Graph, of course. We also have 1 Alec. You could run 2. I'm sticking with 1 for now. Just didn't really find the space for it. Cowcab and Barbar. I find these to be perfectly fine. Seer and Graph are both limited, unfortunately. The other ones, you don't really miss a second copy. For our other cards that make Dante, we have the 1 Tour Guide and the 3 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. These are all fairly good cards that are vulnerable to cards like Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler, though, so you do have to be a bit careful when you're summoning them. Fiendish Rhino Warrior, of course, sets up your 2 kind of main combos with this. The 2-card Beatrice, as well as the Isolde combo. New addition, and something that I was kind of too afraid to put in the last video. There was a few of these cards that were in the topping list that I just didn't really want to put in, because I hadn't tested them. The last deck profile was almost all theory and based off of testing from the previous format. But after the YCSs, I'm totally sold on Tokatemborg. The advantage of having the Terratop definitely outweighs the downside of opening the Tokatemborg. A lot of the time you can just shuffle the Tokatemborg away with Sekka's Light anyway. It's just pretty much a free Dante, and it can bait a lot of cards, a lot of hand traps. So if you weren't already aware of what I'm about to drop on you with the 2 Skarm and the 2 Farfa, 3 Orbital Hydralander. I think this boss monster is ridiculous. It was very correct of the 2 European topping decks to run this card. My last profile was very similar to the one that topped Mexico City. I do think it's a good deck, but I think it is much better to play Orbital Hydralander. It's a 3k beat stick, just summons itself for basically no cost. It does have a condition, but it's usually pretty easily filled, and it has a non-targeting destruction effect on either player's turn that mills you cards. It does everything you want it to do, and I found that even though you have to cut down some cards from 3 to 2, it's definitely worth it. And I kind of like what Thomas Rose did. So Tinkabooey, I believe, did not run any copies of Blackluster Soldier, while Thomas Rose did. I think the 3 and the 2 is the correct way to go. Blackluster Soldier oftentimes actually sets up Orbital Hydralander if you open both of them. And if you're able to drop both of them, you pretty much always win that game. It is an absurd combination. I think I won multiple games opening both of them. Well, not opening usually, but, you know, through the grind game. Once I'm kind of on my 3rd turn, oftentimes I just kind of end up with both of them in my hand. I just drop both of them in the same turn, and that would just end the game. You know, at minimum, they're 6k damage with the 2 attacks from Blackluster Soldier. It could be as high as 9k. Most likely it's going to be 7 to 8k damage. So, or excuse me, Yeah, sorry, I was right. Next, so what I think Dean Kabui and Andres Torres did correctly that Thomas Rose did not was playing the Warrior engine, the 3 Malicious, and the 1 Solkius. So, yeah, apparently I'm not crazy. Everyone was asking me in the comments, you know, is the Warrior version really the best variant? What about Beasts? What about Dangers? Dean Kabui and Andres Torres, second place in Europe, first place in Mexico City, played these cards. I think they're just kind of too strong not to play. Malicious is just too free link materials, and Solkius helps you set up your Isolde combo, and it can just be some free damage. Sometimes it gets cards out of your hand. If you have too many cards in your hand that want to be in the graveyard, this can help with that. I don't know. They're just kind of ridiculous. Malicious is way too strong right now. It's probably going to get hit. I do like Thomas Rose's build for the most part. I think that's the main gripe I have, is that he stuck with playing like 2 Rescue Cat, 2 Gallus, a Pero, and an Elfun or something like that. Not a huge fan of that. Otherwise, really love his build, but I think that's definitely something Bowie and Torres did better. The 1 Snow, of course, much more important now that we have Orbital Hydralander, helps set it up. Hydralander checks at resolution to see if all of the monsters in your graveyard are still all different, but it mills his cost. So if you mill another copy of a card, you can actually chain Snow and banish it before Hydralander resolves. So that's an interesting interaction there. Going into hand traps, 2 Ash, 2 Droll, 2 Ogre. So this is kind of going back to just a lot of 2-ofs. I was a big fan of a lot of 2-ofs before, but I think with Orbital Hydralander it's now kind of necessary. Also getting the 2 Effect Veiler. I don't know. We can't really fit these all on screen. This is the usual problem. And then finally 2 DD Crow. These can be Ghost Bells. I don't currently own them, and I'm not actually convinced that Ghost Bell is better than this card right now. I think this card is very good for a couple reasons. You can banish Ray, you can banish Invocation, you can banish True King's Return Target, I guess. I've never done that, but you could do that as well. Just a really strong hand trap lineup, excuse me. It just kind of covers all your bases. I think we could see the DD Crows come out for main decked Kaijus. That's something that I didn't do that Dinkabui did with his Warrior Sekka Burning Abyss. Is he ran like 7 different Kaijus. There are no Kaijus in the main deck in mine. I don't know, as I play tests against Sky Strikers more, I may decide that that's actually necessary, but I've not found that to be the case. The locals I played at earlier today went undefeated. Almost every single matchup was meta. The only matches that weren't were round 1 I played against a guy playing like a Cyber Structure deck, poor guy, and then I played against Cosmo. This deck actually deals with Cosmo quite well with Orbital Hydralander, because Hydralander's 3k and it doesn't target. Anyway, last card, 3 Sekka's Light. Of course, it's not really worth replacing. Let's go into the extra deck. Still playing the 1 Beatrice. Would play 3 if I could. And 2 Dante. You never need the 3rd. 2 is fine. The only other Exceed I'm still playing is the 1 DDD Stone King Darius. It doesn't come up very often. It might be on the cutting block. I feel really bad about cutting it though, because it does every once in a while come up, and it's just a really good card when it does. Oftentimes you don't really have a great alternative. It does have the advantage of just taking 2 level 3s. On the other hand, it may not come up enough to warrant its spot. I'll just have to see where it goes. If you want to include an extra, and I'm having trouble speaking English, it's really late. If you want to fit in another extra deck monster in your extra deck that I'm not currently playing, that is one of the first things that you can cut. Okay, continuing on, hopefully I can speak English from here on out. 1 Boral Sword. It facilitates a lot of 1-turn kills that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to create. Triple Burst Dragon, it's really good against Sky Striker. It prevents Ray from activating. Made room for Topologic Trisbania. It's very good against Altergeist, very good against Paleo. It's okay against True Kings, True Draco. I found sometimes, I've only played True Draco once with this very specific build, and I made Trisbania and it didn't feel that great. I don't know, that might just be anecdotal evidence, and it turns out it's just as good against True Draco as it is against Paleozoic and Altergeist. I don't know, probably. Still have the Decode Talker. I really, really want to cut this card, but against Sky Striker, if you really want to extend, they have a really hard time outing this card, because if they try to Widow Anchor, you can just use Decode Talker effect to negate it. So that's pretty good. Unicorn, of course. Phoenix, still only playing one Phoenix. I kind of want to play a second one. Might cut the one Cerberus for the second Phoenix, or you can cut the Stone King for it, whatever. Put Mermaid back in. Last deck profile, I didn't have Mermaid. I kind of wanted Mermaid. Ended up just cutting like Nightmare Shark for it. Nightmare Shark doesn't come up enough for it to be worth it. A lot of the times you're just OTKing with Boral Sword, with Hydralander, with BLS. The one Underclock Taker, it's pretty good for getting in a lot of damage. A lot of the time, if you're not afraid of the repercussions, a lot of the time instead of using the Underclock Taker in the 2-card Beatrice combo, you actually just throw down a Cerberus. Excuse me for bumping the camera. And then you, to get the Dante and the Seer off the field, and then you just put a Mermaid over it. And it's basically the same thing as an Underclock Taker. You do have to be a little careful though, because if they can link a bunch of stuff and you can't disrupt it, then Mermaid's actually going to work against you. So, still playing Underclock Taker. We have the Isolde for the combo. It searches BLS, and we have the Pilgrim as the target for the Beatrice. Just kind of have to have it. A lot of the time they won't destroy the Beatrice, but you have to have it in case they do. Finally, for the side deck. And this is kind of where I'm still super undecided. I think there's a lot of stuff that could probably come out. There's a lot of stuff I want to run. All 2 Ceravises are in the side deck now. It's pretty good going first against Sky Striker. It's okay going second. Prevents them from Widow Anchoring you. It's okay. This might be one of the first things I cut if I really decide I need other cards in the side deck. Put Ghost Reaper back in. I am from the States, and Goki is much stronger here with Summon Sorcerers, and you're already running Isolde in the extra, so it's kind of nice just to hit it with Ghost Reaper, and a lot of the time after that, you just need like one other hand trap. Or if their hand was really bad, sometimes Ghost Reaper is all it takes, and they just kind of have the 2 materials, and they can't get the third for Summon Sorceress. 2 Vanity's Fiend. This is a card that part of me really wants to run at 3. This is super good going first against Goki. It's super good going first against Mechanite Invoked. A lot of the time they actually just don't have an answer for the card, and you essentially just win. Not maining any Kaijus. Like Thomas Rose, I am siding them. I think he was only siding Gamesio and Kumongus. I'm also trying a third. I do think they're pretty strong right now. Not only against Sky Striker, they're also very good against Mechanite Invoked, taking out Makaba. They're good against Paleo, taking out Totally Awesome. I think it has a lot of good kind of tier 2 applications. So beyond just the Sky Striker matchup. So that's part of the reason why I play them. This is a build where I'm not playing evenly matched or sphere mode. I would kind of like to play one or the other. I might go back to playing one or the other. I'm probably going to find that my side for Goki is a little weak. But for now, this is what I'm playing. Again, this is just kind of a guideline for you guys to follow. None of my deck profiles or something you should ever really follow card for card. I think they're a good starting place, but you should kind of develop your own formula for the deck. Some people do play decks slightly differently, so different card choices are a little more intuitive to them. It also just kind of depends on your meta, whether you're playing at a locals where very specific decks are popping up, if you're going for more of a regionals or YCS, whatever. 3 Twin Twisters. It's so good against every trap deck, and it's pretty good against Sky Strikers. And the 3 Magic Deflector. I dropped the Imperial Order and the anti-spells and just bumped up Magic Deflector to 3. I think that it's honestly just better than Anti-Spell and Imperial Order because it can't be chained to, or it can't be like chained to and popped like those cards. Like once you just activate it, it's activated, and they're locked out for that turn. So I'm a big fan of Magic Deflector. So yeah, that is kind of my revised list. It incorporates Orbital Hydralander. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to Thomas Rose's build, but it learns a little bit from the success of the other duelists. It takes into account my own personal preference towards the Warrior build as well. I do think it's the way to go. Not that the Beast version that Rose played isn't still very good, but I think the Maliciouses and Sulkius are the way to go. Danger BA. People ask me about it. I just don't think it's that good yet. I think we need to wait to see what the Sport and Soul fusion is. Maybe if they get like a fourth monster that's really worth using, maybe we can consider using danger cards. I did want to wait to make some videos. A lot of people were asking for certain videos. I kind of wanted to wait until after the YCS and after I had tested BA more before I made anything like videos with duels of them, or if I looked at other builds. I wanted to just kind of get this out of the way first. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the deck profile, the update, and I really suggest going out there and trying it. So I'll probably have some more Burning Abyss related videos coming in the next few days, and until then, I will see you guys later.